Hello everyone, welcome to Mega Moves. It's your host, Mega Sterling, and today I'll be giving you a trade recap from the last week. Let's get right into the charts. So last week we traded TEM, which is a healthcare stock, and the alerts came from the weekly chart. This is what the alerts looked like before. I'm doing the replay to simulate it. So this is what the alert was. A break and hold. Actually, let me open it on Discord so we can look at the alerts together. Alright, so let's try to find the play. So we will be in the swing charts. There we go. Alright, so this was the TEM play. We said above, what we are looking for is that TEM is above the 8 and 21 weekly. It's starting to show rising volume on the daily. Weekly breakouts of the all-time high trend line, which is the line down this way, right? And a high ADR, and that this name can go to $80. So this was a trigger. A break and hold 67 for calls to 70, 74, and 78. Stop loss of 65. Let's take a look at the play. So this is how it looked before. Currently the price is $73. So indeed we did hit our PT1, which is 70, and our PT2, which is 74. And I think we made the sale somewhere up here around let's see, when I take the replay of UT, but I think we sold it off around like $76. So this is what I was seeing before. If you look into the charts, this is the RSI, which is the relative strength index, and on the RSI on the weekly, we saw it creating a support line here. The RSI bounce here was 48, here was 45, so it's making new highs and higher lows, right? It's trending higher. And if you look at the MACD, which is the momentum indicator here, we're looking for a pending MACD cross. So I seen this blue line cross the red line up here, which is a signal line for bullish momentum. Hits the top here, pulls back, and we're looking for the next curl up. So the idea here is we're anticipating a move. And if you look at the volume here, is doing something called the volume compression. So if you look at the stock, it's going down, right? The candles are going lower and lower, but the volume is also getting lower and lower. From our volume analysis class, or the class for volume analysis, we talk about how if price is going down a stock and the volume is not getting higher, it means that the momentum downward is slowing down, right? So it's going down, but there's not enough conviction in the volume to show us that they actually want to dump the stock. But what we can see is overall the stock has been moving sideways, right? If I put on my highlighter, you can see it's been moving sideways. This is what you call consolidation. And if you zoom out a bit, this whole consolidation is happening in something called a flag, right? This triangle part is the flag. So what we're looking for is a squeeze in this area, get to the tip of the flag here, and eventually squeeze out, right? So I'm gonna take away the highlights again, and then we can look at it on the daily chart. You can see on the daily chart, the daily chart lets you know, like, nitty gritty, right? On the nitty gritty aspect of things, we can see that it's also consolidating on the lower time frame. The line that I drew on the weekly is showing up on the lower time frame to show that things are intact, right? Holding support, and it's bouncing off this green line right here. It's called the 200 MA on the daily. And normally stocks that are holding above the 200 MA on the daily are considered bullish, and stocks below the 200 MA are considered bearish. So in the bullish stance of the 200 MA here, what I wanted to see was a rise in volume, and we saw that that volume came in on the 8th of August, right? Rise in volume. And the call out for this play was on the 13th. So I was seeing that volume is already increasing. That's why I acknowledged it in the alert. So what I wanted to see was a break above what? Break and hold 67, which this level right here, right, is 66. So break and hold this level, which means we've gone out of that all-time high trend line here. That means we are looking for a bullish stance, and I was targeting what uh 18% move over here to $77. So let's see how it played out. On the 5-minute chart, you probably would want to find your entry right when it breaks above that 67 up here. That's where we normally will enter. But I want to show you the final result on the weekly chart, how it actually played out. I'll take out the replay bar, and you can see what happened for the week is that the stock began to go higher and volume began to increase. If you pay attention to this volume indicator right here, before the move printed, right, this is what it looked like. There was no volume here, but I was anticipating that volume rise or increase above the 821 on the weekly, and above the 821 on the weekly, and also above the resistance level would have been 67 right here, and that's why we entered for calls, and we was targeting 77 right here. And what did we get? We got as high as what, 74, 75, right? So we sold it over there. That's a move complete right there. And if you look at it on the 1-day chart as well, you can see how TEM held that 67 level here, right? Worked into 72, 74, and then ultimately going to 75. So our alerts was for 70, 74, 78. So if you didn't get to sell at 70, you got the chance to sell at 74. We haven't made it to 78 yet, but taking profit around 75 was good enough for me. That's the analysis on TEM play. And also I did make a call out about Netflix. So I'll look at Netflix on the weekly chart, and I'll show you what I initially saw that made me make the call out for the alerts. I'll hide all the lines for the chart so you can see a clean chart, right? Netflix currently is at resistance right here at 1239, or let's say 1240, right? Because here's resistance. How do we know it's resistance? We see a line going up on the top here. That's considered the wick, and the resistance starts right at the body here, and the body ends right here, right? 12380, 1238. That's what I'm gonna say. Yeah, this area right here. So we can anticipate that there are sellers in the zone. For this stock to rise exponentially, it needs to get above 1262 to take out the sellers in this area and then take off. But I like this setup for a swing overall, because why? We held the 21 on the weekly as support, and I can zoom out. We can see every time we held the 21, the stock went up exponentially, like it did astronomical numbers, right? This is the same setup. This setup here where I'm circling is the same setup in this area where I'm circling, where you get a pending MACD cross, right? And MACD is like this signals right here. You get the blue crossing the red or the orange one, and the stock takes off whenever it was holding the 21 as support here as well. So what I'm expecting is a similar move where it held the 21, holds the 8, takes out that resistance level at 1238, and then take off. That's what I was looking at on the weekly. So I looked at it on the daily, and I realized that, hey, if I send the bar backwards for when I send out the alerts, this was what I saw right here. If I can show you the alerts, you'd see it right here. This is the exact chart on the weekly. So that's how I was on the daily at that time. And I said 1230 is the 50 MA daily, which is acting as resistance right now. The trigger is a break above the 50 MA daily and hold for calls to 1300. So let's get into the chart. You can see right here, this is the 50 MA at that time, right? 50 MA was what? 1230 right here. So I expected a break and hold of that level, but guess what? I took an entry where we got the break of that 50 MA resistance, but we never got a close above it, and so I got a little bit of trouble there. I struggled to actually make a gain there the next day, because I was down on the play. I'm trying to get to the next candle, but I'm struggling. All right, so this is how it came out to look. Oh no, I mean to send it like, okay. Never mind. This is what I'm trying to do. Basically, it rejected here, and I'm saying we need a break and hold of the next candle above that level, right? So I got into the play when it was breaking above it, but that was a false entry. And it was a false entry. Why? Because volume never confirmed. Whenever you have a break of of a level, a resistance level, you want follow through or confirmation of the volume. But guess what? We had a breakout of that level, and we never had followed through with volume, right? So since we didn't have follow through with volume on that level, the stock just began to drop, and I was in that massive drawdown. I actually took an entry of that play when I was on the train. So you would see the alerts in the chat. It would go off on a 5 minute to signal the entry for Netflix. So I had a false entry on that play. You can also see that it has a pending 821 MACD 821 EMA cross right here, and we've already had the pending MACD cross as well. So what we're looking for in Netflix is an increase of volume. So we didn't have that last week, right? We had a massive drawdown from 1,230 all the way down to 1,200, which is the psychological level, right? I was in the play. I think I was down about 1.7k on Netflix, but this is when your discipline comes in, right? I took a false entry. I was down on the play, but your discipline tells you this is a false drawdown because it doesn't have volume on the drawdown, right? So I held the play, and the next day, Netflix began to what? Begin to bounce, because what? We start to have the rise in volume. That rising volume helped me get out of the play positive 300 bucks. So instead of being down 1.7k, I ended up being up $300 on the day. If you look at Netflix on the the nitty gritty level, right? Let's look at it a couple days back. This is the where we had the drawdown on Wednesday. Netflix really tanked, literally. And if you look at the chart, it's going down, right? But you're having low volume as it continues to go down on the lower time frame. So the higher time frame gives you the confirmation. The lower time frame paints the picture of how it was happening. So as Netflix was dropping the whole day, I didn't have incentive or a reason to sell, even though I'm losing money, right? You can see I'm down like 1.7k. You have to take your emotions out and stick with discipline. Discipline shows you like, hey, we're having a drawdown here, but the drawdown has no conviction, right? It's going down, low volume. And what did we have the next day? A massive pop, right? As the stock is going higher, get above the 200 MA on the 5 minute, hold the 821, holding the 8 as a support level, right? You can see as the stock continues to go higher, we have conviction in the volume, right? So this is the type of discipline you want to have as a trader, and this is what makes us profitable, discipline, right? So that's the quick recap on Netflix. So today I went over TEM play. I think we made about 40% on that. I think I made $300 on it. We made about $300 on Netflix as well. So we had a good week. Let's continue to crush it next week and come with your discipline as well, okay? It's Mega Sterling, and I'm signing out. Peace.